Okay, so you guys have been learning about line plots. We started yesterday. So today we're going to do line plots with, unlike denominators, using equivalent fractions. So can anyone remind me what unlike denominators are? Or what a denominator is if we don't know? Yes. So could you give me an example off the top of your head? 3/5 and 2/3. So there's going to be two different numbers on the above a fraction. And then what would be an equivalent fraction? Yes. Come.
When the fractions are the same.
Yeah. So you want to give me an example of that?
So I don't know if you want exactly the ones, this top number center.
So it doesn't have to be the top number, but just as long as they're equal. If you reduce it.
2/3 and 1/3.
Yep, 2/3 and 1/3. Close. You're almost there. Can anyone, Olivia, want to help? What would be an equivalent fraction?
Like 1/2 and 2/3.
Yeah, so they're going to be the exact same number when you make it smaller. All right? So today we're going to be talking about line plots. I made a chart over here that we're going to look at today. So in a line plot, you guys were talking about what things yesterday. Can someone give me some terms that you've learned about line plots? You can just shout them out.
Median.
Median, yep. Mode, mean, range, yep. So we're not going to use this today, but we're going to talk about the different parts of a line plot, which is super important when you're looking at a line plot. So we use line plots to show how frequently something happens. So we're saying frequently, it's like how many times is this thing occurring. So in our example, on the chart, if you look on the board, can everyone see it kind of?
Yeah.
See it kind of in the back? Okay. We're going to talk through it. So we're going to talk about Chef C. So we're going to say Chef Cook C. That's what we're going to say today. So Chef Cook C has a whole entire book of recipes, and she's wanting to plot them on her line plot. So the reason she's using a line plot is so she can see how many cups of sugar she has in each recipe. So in our chart, we have Chef C's recipes. We're going to write that at the top of our line plot. That is called a title. So our title isn't super important, but it's just anything you want to talk about, your general topic. So we're going to talk about Chef C's recipes. So that's going to be our title. So right here, this is our... This is our title. Right here. Okay. And then for each cup of sugar, we're going to have that at the bottom. So she has about 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 1 cup of sugar, 1 1/4 cups of sugar, 1 2/4 cup of sugar, and 1 3/4 cup of sugar. So that's how many different kinds of cups of sugar she has all in her recipes. So down here is going to be every fraction. So we're going to be using fractions in our examples today and in our word problems. So we're not going to even look at whole numbers, but just fractions. So these are going to be how many different kinds of cups of sugar is going to be in each different recipe. So let's just say for one recipe we have a 1/4 cup of sugar. We're going to plot that right here above the 1/4. And for every recipe that has 1/4 cup of sugar, you're going to be putting a mark on the top of it. So those marks are called data points. And what data points do, they're just going to tell us how many of that fraction is going to be in her total number of recipes. So she would have, if we're reading this, she would have 2 recipes that call for 1/4 cup of sugar. And then Chef Cook C is going to use X's. You don't have to use X's. You could use maybe dots for yours. But every time we put a mark, we're going to call that a data point. And then our labels is telling us what is being measured. So what is being measured here is our cups of sugar. Oh. Yes. Oh, never mind. Okay, you can't see it super well. But at the bottom we have cups of sugar. That's right down here. It's working. Okay. So our cups of sugar is at the bottom. That is super important in a line plot because we want to know how much of something is being measured. So that's just to tell anyone who looks at our line plot what we're measuring. So for this case, we're doing cups of sugar. All right, so that's like a short overview of a line plot. A line plot is basically just a number line. Really easy. You guys have learned number lines before. So when you think of line plot, just think it's a giant number line. It's the same thing, but we're just showing data, and that's the reason why we have line plots. Right. So if you look up here, we have like a little mini thing of a ruler. This is an inch, and basically plotting fractions on a line plot is very similar to our ruler. So we're going to put all the numbers in order just like we do a ruler. So we want to have lines. There's similarities. We have lines here. What are some other similarities you're seeing of a line plot that compares to a ruler? Yes, Claire? Fractions. Yep, so we're using fractions. We have our fractions over here. And then what are some other similarities? So if you're thinking of a line plot compared to this ruler, what's something else that we see that'd be similar? Mm-hmm.
It's like, it has like a bunch of lines and like all the fractions are like lined up.
Yep.
Like a line plot kind of.
Yeah, so they're all lined up. That's very good. Yes. And Claire, do you have another thing?
They both have like a starting and an ending point.
Mm-hmm. That's very important. Yes. So we have our 0 here and our 1 here. So whenever we're starting our line plots, we're going to start at 0. And in this case, we have a whole number 1. And we have all these fractions in between that will make up 1. Okay. Does anyone have any other similarities they've seen? Anything else? Okay. So what are some examples of equivalent fractions that we could find on this ruler in particular? Yes, Paulo?
1/2.
Mm-hmm. So you have a 1/2. What are some other ones we're seeing? Make sure you're looking at all the different ones. We have up to a 16th. So you can go all the way up to a 16th in equivalent fractions. So you see 1/2. What's something that could equal 1/2? Another fraction. Do you have an idea, Nick? Do you have an idea, Abby? No? Okay. Hudson? 1/2.
8/16.
So we already said, yes, 8/16. That's a great one. Yes. So sometimes they don't go, sometimes they're not a fourth. Sometimes they're not in halves. Sometimes they're in 16ths. So we have to make sure we're looking for those equivalent fractions when we're doing line plots as well. 4/8. Yeah. And any other ones?
2/4.
2/4. Yep. So there's some examples of our equivalent fractions. Okay. Okay. So we're going to practice a practical problem. You're going to see a lot of these on your homework and on your tests. So we're going to read this together. Can I have someone read this for me? I'd like to read. Yes. Wesley, you want to read?
What do you want me to read?
Just read the story problem up here.
The 5th graders all collected their data from running for gym class. 5 students ran 3/4 of a mile, 6 students ran half of a mile, 2 students ran 1 mile, and 7 students ran 1/4 of a mile.
Yes. Okay. So if you look up there, I put this all in steps. So step number 1 is we're going to write the data values as fractions with a common denominator. So this will be our first step in any line plot. You want to write down all of your data. So what's some examples of a data value? Does anyone know? Could anyone tell me what they think a data value is? You can just guess. Yes, Baxter? Yeah. So what would be an example? Could you give me like a number?
Like 6 students ran 1/2 of a mile.
Yeah, so in this case, it's going to be our fraction. That'll be our data value, or also known as a data point. So what would it be? We have 5 students ran 3/4 of a mile, 6 students ran half a mile, and 2 students ran 1 mile, and 7 students ran 1/4 of a mile. And so I would start with doing the fractions. So I'd write down 3/4. 3/4. And then another one would be 1/2. Sure. Then 1/2 is another one. And then 1 mile and 1/4 of a mile. Yep. Okay, so what would be our first step to have them all have common denominators? Because right now they are not. What would be our first step? Yes. Ethan?
Change it half to 2/4.
Yeah. So half, another easy way to do that is 2/4. So why did you change it to a 4?
Because we don't
Yeah. So when we're doing this in our sort problems and you see a number that happens more than once, like 4, or let's just say it was an 8th, we're going to want to make it as small as possible so they look all the same. So we're going to look at our common denominators, or our denominators to make them common. So we have 3/4, and then 1/2 is 2/4. What would I change 1 to? The whole number. Yes, Baxter? Never mind? Okay. Nixie? 4/4? Yep. And then we have 1/4. Okay. So these are going to be writing the data values out, and we're going to be listing them from smallest to largest. So why would we need to list them from smallest to largest? Like, what's the point of that? Mm-hmm.
So we.
Does it? I think it honestly, it makes it easier to write it on a number line. It's already in order for you, so you know where you want to put it on your number line. So our smallest is going to be 1/4. So if we're listing this, we have 1/4, and then 2/4 is going to be half. 3/4 next, and then 4/4 last. So that's basically all we're going to do for that one. Okay. And then for the next part, the next one, we're going to use a scale on a number line to show all of the data points. So after you have all yours listed, like mine are here, you're going to want to draw your number line. So draw the number line. Make sure you're putting your arrows so you're showing that it keeps on going. Okay. So we have 1/4. Oh, did it move? Yeah. See. Okay. So we have 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4. So when we're doing this, we're going to draw a scale. So a scale is basically when we have 0 to a whole number, or so it'd be 0 to 1 in this case. Or if you had like 1.5, 2.5, it would be like 1 to 3 or something. So it's your smallest to your biggest number that are in between. So these will usually be whole numbers depending on your data. Okay. So we're going to put 1/4. Where will we put 1/4 on this? Mm-hmm.
Right after 0.
Yeah. So we're going to do 1/4 here. And then our halfway mark, we're going to do 2/4 here. And then 3/4 would come next. And then 4/4 is also 1. So you wouldn't have to even rewrite that. It would just stay there. Okay. So this is what your number line is going to look like. It's just going to be putting them in order, kind of like a ruler. We've already talked about that one. So it's going to look like that. Okay. Next one. So we're going to be marking an X for each data point on the label. So we're going to be adding stuff to this now. in our problem, what would our label be? So what are we looking for? What are we even measuring? What are these fractions representing? Yes. Caroline? So what specifically? How much are they running? What's their distance? Yep, they're in miles. So you're going to be writing how you can kind of put it in a lot of different ways, but I'm going to put like how many miles. Or you could just put miles. That works too. Okay. So we have how many fifth graders ran 3/4 of a mile? 5, yes. So what we're going to do, we're going to be putting 5 X's above 3/4 of a mile. That'll represent our data points, and then how many students ran 3/4 of a mile. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to use X's in this case just because your book uses them and it works better, so you're not confused on what means what. Okay, and then how many students ran half a mile? 6. Yes. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then how many students ran 1 mile? Yep. 2. Okay. And then last one, you guys can shout it out. How many students ran 1/4 of a mile? 7. Yes, this is going to be a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So when we're reading this, how many more students ran 1/4 of a mile than 1 mile? 5. And what would that be? What would you be finding there?
The mode. The range.
Yeah, the range. So looking from the biggest to smallest number, what is the range of students? Yes, that's just a little review question for you guys. And then when you're looking at this, if you want to see how many students, how many more students have the most, sorry, I'm saying that wrong. Which measurement, that's what I'm trying to say, which measurement has the most students? You're going to just look at this and see which has the most X's. So it's pretty simple. You're just going to find out which one has the most X's. So which one would have the most X's in this? Just shout it out. Yep, 1/4. So that would have 7 students. And usually your story problem can tell you that too. So you can look there. But for this case, we're going to use our data plots. Okay. Hi. So we're going to practice this on our dry erase mat. So everyone get your dry erase mats out and your marker, and you're going to work on this problem by yourself. And we're going to make sure we're being quiet so we can give each other focus space so we're not distracting. And then when you're done, give me a thumbs up and tell me that you're done with the story problem. Okay. Shh. Okay, you guys should not be talking. You need to be working on your dry erase mat and looking up on the board for your problem. Okay, if you're all done, give me a thumbs up so I can see when you're done. All right. Okay, give about 1 more minute. So put your last efforts into doing the line plot. All right, so we're gonna work step by step through this problem. Would anyone like to come and do step 1 for us? What would be our first step? Right, so Claire's hand first. So Claire, come up here. Show us step 1 of what you did on your line plot. What would you do first?
I would change these all to 8.
So she's gonna change them all to 8s, make them into common denominators, excuse me. So why don't you write your data on there?
Can I get my bag?
Sure. So she's going to be making common denominators. That is our first step in the problem.
Change this into 6.
Yep, so that one she's changing to 6 eighths. And then we have 4 eighths to represent 1/2. 6 eighths to represent 3/4 again. So she's changing her fourths into eighths so that they can all look the same. All right, okay. So step number 2. Who thinks you know step number 2? Chim? Come up here. Now bring your map. Okay. So what did you do for step number 2?
So how many of these appear?
Yeah, so how many of those appear? So you're writing how many times they appear, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So Chim is writing on his boxes. He's using that technique to write how many times those numbers appear in the chart. So why don't you draw the number line out for us too, so you can have that out. Okay. So Chim's gonna write his number line, and then write out the different eighths. Mm-hmm. Okay, and what numbers will we be adding? What would you add to this? We have. Can you remember? What do you think?
Add extras.
Almost. We're almost there. But we're forgetting 2 very important numbers. One at the beginning and one at the end. Say what? Yep, 0 and 1. Yep, those are super, super important that we have those. All right, so we're going to have another person come up. And who would like to write the data points? Hudson, saw your hand. All right, Hudson, come up and write the data points. So this is going to be how many times you see these fractions occur in the chart. Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. And that's it. So that's how we're going to be having our line plot. That'll be our last step, is plotting the data points. Does anyone have any questions on how to do this? No? All right. We'll move on to our activity. Okay. So we're going to play a game today. It's called Track That Jump. So we're going to do girls versus boys today. That'll be super fun. I'm so excited. So we're going to do, in the back of the room, you can erase your dry erase boards, by the way, and put them away. You can listen while I explain the instructions.
Come on, challenge. More challenge, boys and girls.
right, clear your desks off so we can start. In 3, 2, 1. All right, everyone sit down. We're going to explain the game. Okay. So, excuse me. Shh, and be quiet, please. Thank you. All right. So, for the instructions, in the back of the room, there are 2 blue lines. So, those are going to represent rulers. And we have labeled there every foot, every half foot, and a quarter of a foot. So, we're going to have the boys on the left side of the room and the girls on the left side of the room. What you're going to do when you're lining up to do the game, we're going to have the boys on the left side of the rug and the girls on the right side of the rug for space so we don't get in each other's space. So our instructions, if you're the person jumping, so you're only going to have one person at a time, you're going to stand behind the blue line and jump as far forward as you can. So we're not going to do a running start because we don't have enough space, but you're just going to jump as far forward as you can. And then what you're going to do, you're going to grab a marker and a sticky note in the back of the room. By your rulers, there's blue ones for the boys and green ones for the girls. And what you're going to do, you're going to write down your measurement on the sticky note and hold it. And then you're going to come to the front of the board and write how far you jumped. So we're going to round it to the nearest half of a foot or nearest quarter of a foot. So me and Miss Cooksey, if that's okay with you, she's going to be running the girl side and I'll be running the boy side, and we'll help you if you need help with the measurements. Okay? And then you're going to write down your measurement on your sticky note and go to the board and write down your data. So we'll come up with team names too once we get divided. Yes, Wesley.
On this, it looks like you missed the 1/4. So it's
Oh.
like, it's 1, 1/2, 1/4, 2. So like there should be a 1/4 there, there, there.
Yeah. It'll be okay. It's gonna be an approximate measurement, so it's not gonna be exact, but that's just to help show us where 1/4 is.
What if you jump past this?
If you jump past this, we're gonna just round backwards a little bit, so we'll just round to 6.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That's it.
So it would have been easier if you did every square, because every square is 1 foot.
Okay. We can do that for next time. Thank you for your suggestion. I really appreciate that. All right. So everyone stand up and go to your prospective stations. All right. All right. And put the markers in the middle of the room. All right. So whoever's measuring, whoever's going first, whoever's at the front of the line, so get in the line. All right, 5th grade. Shh. Okay, we need to be listening to instructions so you know what to do. Whoever is about to jump, you need to have your sticky note in hand and a marker. So markers are right there in the middle, and your sticky notes are by your stations. So we're doing that. All right. So boys, can you bring your line over here to the carpet, and girls, bring your line to the carpet so we're not smushing each other. So just flip the line around, and then we'll do that. So bring the back line, Ethan. You're gonna bring the back line over here and line up here. Go here. Okay. Why don't we have Colin go first then? All right, guys, bring the back line over here, and we're gonna line up in 2 lines. So you're gonna be here. We need the back of the line to be over here. So boys, let's move that way. Thank you.
How about we just move this
All right.
way, and I'll be at the back of the line.
Okay, that sounds good. Yep. So follow Wesley. Single file line over here. Okay.
Straight line, one beside the other.
All right.
Don't all the way down.
Guys, like,
Single file line. Just snake it around.
Logan.
All right. So we're gonna start.
Girl.
Yeah. Single file line. Okay. So, girls, what do you want your team name to be?
Team.
You can come up with whatever name you want.
Go back there.
Okay, shh. Okay, while the girls are brainstorming their name, boys, do you want to brainstorm your name? Okay, so brainstorm yours. All right. What do you guys think?
Princess Rat.
Princess Rats? What do you guys think? No? Okay, okay. You have to come up with just one name. Just one. Okay. You guys have suggestions? No. All right.
No.
Okay.
Princess puppies.
Princess puppies. All right, we're gonna do princess puppies. Okay. So the girls are the princess puppies. All right.
The boys got theirs.
Okay, perfect. So what are the boys going to be?
The Rizzlers. No, Rizzlers.
She's gotta be able to have room to jump.
Princess Puppies.
And the. All right. So what are the boys going to be?
The Rizzlers.
Rizzlers. Okay. Let's put them.
No, they should do the silver show. They act like this.
All right. So make sure you're in your lines, and we have to give everyone space to jump. All right. So in 3, 2, 1, we're gonna start. So make sure you have do you have your sticky note, Colin?
No.
Okay, go get your sticky note, and then we can start. All right. So the girls can start going.
That's 6.
Oh, you got 6. Okay. So you're gonna write down 6. Yes, you can go.
Start like on the line. Don't start back here.
All right, so you got 6. Awesome. So what we're going to do, you're going to go to the Promethean board and write down your data. So you're going to write 6 feet. Or you don't have to write 6 feet, just write 6. No, we're going to write it, so we have it there.
Wait, do we have to write down your guys?
6.
What?
Oh, name it.
No, you don't have to write your name. Just write it under your team name, your team's name. 6. All right.
Literally cookies.
You can just put it at your desk. Go. Right, you can go. 6. Okay. Write that down. All right. Oh, nice. 6. Okay. So you're gonna go to your desk after you write down your number.
12, 18.
Okay. So that was like over here. We're gonna give you like a 4. Okay, that's 4. Okay. All right. So go right. No, you're okay. You can go right.
No,
Okay. Here, redo it. Just redo it. No, no running start. We're just gonna jump as far as you can. Right. Perfect. All right. 6. Right. 6. Okay. Right. 6.
That's great.
Right. 6. Okay. Just make sure you're going to the board and writing your data. All right. So everyone went. All right. If you are done with your data, head back to your seat. Head back to your seat. Remember to write your data on the board before you sit down. All right.
How did because he jumped to the side.
Okay. So head back to your seats, and we need to be quiet in 3, 2, 1. Zip.
Where do I put it?
You can just write it under your princess piece. Okay, so from our data, there's a lot of data here. So we're going to do 2 different number lines, and we'll see how many had which. There we go. Okay. We'll move to this one. Okay, so for our princess puppies, we had a lot of different measurements. So definitely different from our boys team, the Rizzlers. We had a lot of 6s in here, and then our princess puppies, we had like all over the place. So if we're gonna want to change it, what's our first step? We're gonna change, if we're going for the princess puppies data, what is gonna be our first step to changing that? Can you shout it out?
All to 4.
Yes, so common denominator. So we have 5.5, which would be 5 2/4. Cross this out. Next one is 5 3/4. Let's see, 2 of those, so we can write 5 3/4. And then we're gonna have 5.5, which would be 5 2/4 again. And then 5.5 again. So apparently that was the popular one. And then we have 6. We have 3 of, we have 4, 5 6s. Wow. So we have, that's a lot of 6s. And now we have 5. That is a lot. So we have 5 of those. So for our Princess puppies, we have a lot of different ones here. I'm gonna erase this. Okay. So for our number line, we're gonna do our number line. Nope. Okay. So we're gonna start at 0. Oh no, let's not start at 0. Let's start at, oh no. Forget that. Okay, so we're gonna start at 5 since that is our lowest whole number, and then what would be our highest whole number based on this data? 6. Yes, I heard 6. Perfect. Okay, so we're gonna organize this. We have 5 3/4, or 5 2/4. That would be our second lowest number. And then, yes. Sure. Okay. And then we have 5 3/4. And then we're going to label 6 as, we're going to put in parentheses 5 4/4. So you can see that we still are working in fourths even if we move to 6. Okay, so how many do we have of 5? Out of our data. If we're looking at our data, how many data points will we put above 5?
1.
Yes, just shout it out. 1. Yep. Here, 1x. Here. Let me extend this a little bit. So 1x above 5. How many would be above 5 2/4?
3.
3. So you have, I'll be crossing these out. That's another tip. It's really helpful to cross them out when you're done with them so you know that you've already plotted them. So you have 1, 2, 3, and that helps you double check too. Here, 1, 2, 3. Now we're going into the title over there. 5 3/4. How many do we have of that?
2.
2. Yep. 2. And then 5 4/4, which is also 6. How many do we have of that?
7.
Yep, we have 6. Okay. 1, 2, 5, 6. Oh, this is up. All right, and for our boys, we have a lot of 6s. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 6s.
I think some of our kids did.
And then we have 4. All right. So when we're doing our number line for this one, we can see it's going to look a lot different, right? What's going to look different in the boys' line plot? What are some differences we're going to see? Yeah, so we probably won't have as many fractions, right, in there. This one might be more whole numbers.
I only wrote down my 6 on here. I didn't write it up there.
Okay, so let's add that on.
You need to add it up.
All right.
And I think there's one more because I counted like 12 boys in the class and there's only 11 now.
Okay, has anyone not gone to the board? Does anyone remember not going to the board? Okay, well, it's not a huge deal because it doesn't really change it that much. So we're just going to be okay with that. It'll be okay. Okay, so what will we start with as our whole number on the lowest end? What is something we could do to show our range of our scale of numbers, excuse me. 4. So 4 would be a lowest number. All right, so we're going to put 4. That's a good place to start. And then how would I get from 4 to 6? 5, yeah, of course. So we're going to have 5 over here in the middle. And then we're going to make sure we put our 0 here. We don't have to put 0 in this case because we're not going from 0 to 1. But we'll just leave 4. So how many 6s do we have? We have a lot. 10. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 6s. We counted 11. 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Yeah, you can keep with the 11.
Yeah, it doesn't change it, so it'll be fine. Okay, and then 4, we have only 1 4, so we're going to put 1 4 here. And then since 5 doesn't have anything, we're not going to put any X's over it. We're not going to mark it at all, but we're just putting that to show how I got from 4 to 6, just for scales. Okay, so what are some things you're seeing looking at the plot? So who got the most or the highest length? What group had more of the highest length? 6. That's what we're looking for, because 6 was our highest length. So which one? Just shout it out.
Rizzler.
Yeah, the Rizzlers got that one. And then, but the Princess Puppies had a lot more variety. So it looks a lot different. It's going to be lined up differently, and it's going to take more time to read the Princess Puppies one than the Rizzlers. Okay. They're both great. I mean, who has the most? You already said it. The Rizzlers had it. Yeah. So that's a lot more feet, but we have a lot more variety in the girls. 64. All right. Okay. So we're going to move on. So we're going to be doing our homework, but before that, we're going to be doing a review worksheet about range and median and reading line plots. Can I have my secretary come up here? We're going to divide these papers. All right, you're going to take how many that you usually take? How many do you take?
I just take 2.
Okay. And pass them out. All right, so we're going to have 10 minutes.
Can I throw this away?
Yes. If you finish, when you're finishing with your worksheet, just bring it up to the desk, and then we can move on to homework. And I'll put the instructions on the board, but we're going to set a timer for that. All right? So you need to be quiet and let your friends work. No talking. All right. I'm going to start the timer when everyone's seated. You finished with yours. Okay, you can put it up here. So when you're finished, make sure you're putting your paper on the desk. Okay. Oh, that came off. Yes. Okay, we need to still be being quiet while we're putting our papers on the desk. Make sure you're being quiet for your neighbor. Okay.
Baxter, she's asked the class to be quiet.
So if you're finished early, you can work on pages 549 to 550 in your math book and do problems 1 through 4. Right, I'm going to do this. Let's do this one instead. So just tear out the math paper and you can work on it when you're done with your quiz. $5.49 and $5.50. Stuff in the there. Sorry, I can't see it.
That wasn't graded, was it? That wasn't graded, was it?
See what you know.
We'll see.
We did it yesterday.
You did it yesterday? Okay. So what do we have? What time is it? 9:16.
Check your notebook to see if we actually did page 550. I don't remember us doing 550.
Check for 550 because you should have it. Okay. You can work on Dreambox after you're done with your quiz then.
No, check your notebook because there was one page we did not do.
Ready to do 550?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you can work on Dreambox for a little bit while you're waiting. We'll just have a extended Dreambox time after your quiz. So turn in your quiz to the desk and then work on Dreambox the rest of your time. Did you do 550?
I don't have it.
You don't have it?
Yeah, we already ripped it out.
Okay, we already ripped it out then. Okay, so you guys can just do Dreambox.